game dev live stream equivalent of, is this mic on?
Yeah,
is this mic on?
yeah.
Hi,
Is
everyone.
this on? Is this on? That always reminds me, whenever anyone says hello like that, it always reminds me of Alex coming up on stage in 2015. Like,
Oh, yeah.
at the river, he just goes, hello. And
Hello.
you're like, whoa!
Yeah,
Like,
but Alex had this kind of like groundbreaking, turn your attention to me kind of hello.
he goes, hello.
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 Hello, everybody.
Hi,
We're just
everyone.
having a conversation.
We are just casually chatting.
Yeah, we're just chatting, man. Just shooting breeze.
No, you're not. No, you're not. Get away from me. Get away from me. Don't do that.
Hey, you're up in the north, man. I'm down here in the south.
Yeah, it's going to take a really good shot, I think.
Yeah. What is up, everybody? Hello, Bad Swede. Hello, Falco Rich. Hello, Mark. Hello, Dice Man. Hello, DG. Hello, Super Ninja Burger. Hello, Mohio. Hello, Saitendo. Hello, Bad Swede. Hello, Multimoo. I'm not gonna. We'd be here forever.
Yeah, it's like a roll call. Remind me of my teaching days. Good morning.
Yeah.
Everyone.
Good morning, yes.
Good
What was
morning.
it? Was it Tom Dent here? Was it here? Or
Here. Yeah.
Here.
We had a slew of like here's, and then for 1 year I remember the teacher going, no, instead we're going to say good morning, Mrs. So and so.
Okay. Yeah.
And it was like, do we have to? Do we have to do that?
No,
Apparently it's manners or something.
Yeah, it's polite. Bad Swede is room making while watching.
Oh, nice.
MC Agman said you decided to stream just for Udorinu's birthday.
We did.
It's Dorian's birthday today.
He's in the chat as well. Happy birthday, Dorian.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. No, we're not going to do the full thing. Tom is though. Tom is doing the full thing.
Happy birthday, Udorinu. Happy birthday to you.
Lovely.
There we go. Beautiful. The Biv is here. Hello, the Biv.
Hey, the Biv.
Present.
What's up?
You can't just start with some of our names and ignore the others. No, that's true. Hello, Reddish. Hello, Lottie. Hello, Dorian. Hello, Tab. Hello, my summer job. Hello, I think that Bobby. Hi, Entropy. No, we need to move.
We could be going on forever, couldn't we?
Yeah, we could be going forever.
As much as we'd love to do that.
Yeah. Medium Molla Boo. Oh
Shocking.
my god. That's
goodness.
gonna need to be the Halloween name change on Twitter.
Absolutely.
Why Ledbetter, if I can have your permission.
Yes, we require permission.
Yeah, thank you very much. That would be great. Right, today, let's go on forever, please. I'll try and keep up with new people in the stream. This is where it gets like hosted on some sort of mad channel, and we're like,
yeah,
there's like 6,000 people that you say hello to.
Hello, there's
yeah. Right. So, what are we doing today, Jamie?
We are going to look into the templates that we handed out for the Halloween event for All Hallows streams. And we're just going to go through them like with a fine comb, like everything, just to make sure that everyone knows absolutely everything that you need to do for these rooms. Because we did have a bit of a browse, didn't we? A browse of some people. We've got some amazing entries, by the way. Mm-hmm. Did you see? Whose was it? Entropy Termed. I think we were just like gushing over.
We were geeking out over that.
Yeah, it's like what?
And yes, Redanti, we will try and answer some questions as well. So if you do have them, pop them in the chat, and I will make a note and we'll answer as we go. But Jamie,
hello.
Let's get started.
Shall we get started? Let's get started then. Good. Right. I mean, this is like a really easy one, but we're going to start with the pumpkin because I like pumpkins, and it flows well with the way that I've set this stream out. So the first thing you need to do, scope in. So you've got your microchip above there. Did you hear that dog as well?
I heard that dog.
Yeah. I live near like a lot of dogs, so just having like random dogs join us on the stream, which is brilliant. There it goes again. Right, so you want to sculpt into your pumpkin so that you are in sculpt mode like that. And the most important thing is when you do your pumpkin, you can't add sculpts like that. As cool as that would be, it's not very realistic for a pumpkin carving challenge. So you've got to press triangle to go into subtract mode. Like you've got add like that, and you've got subtract like that. I appreciate this is like really we know that, Jamie. Like get on with it. But if there's some people who have sort of like joined us and they're really not au fait with like sculpting practice, then this is for them basically.
Really useful.
Really useful, of course. A really good thing you can also do is you can change the colour of the subtracted sculpt. So as you can see, if I zoom in a little bit, when you cut out of the pumpkin like that, it's got like a kind of pink sort of residue. And if you want to make it a bit more realistic, not that it's super realistic because we've got levitating pumpkins, but if you want to go for the realistic route, you can select like a lighter shade of orange. I just go for this one because it's a nice colour, isn't it? I think it's a nice colour. Yeah, it's a good old light orange. Never fails you. Never fails you. Never ever. I suppose a really good thing actually before I even start sculpting is when you go into this microchip, if you want your name to appear above the pumpkin, you want to go into the text display, put in your user ID. So I'm just going to put in person because I'm not feeling very creative. For a video I did earlier, I did like Pumpkin Carver 01, like
Pumpkin Carver 01.
I mean, imagine. Sorry, go on. No, it's fine. You first. Okay.
Mr. Case. No,
No, it's fine. Go for it.
Mr. Case Jones asks, can they paint the entire pumpkin?
Yes, although I don't think that's the answer he wanted.
No. But
no, he wanted me to say that word. He wanted me to say that.
I'm taking it.
The word at the end.
Just asking
yes.
the question out.
Thank you. I appreciate it. After all these weeks of ragging on my accent, it's nice to have a change, isn't it? It's nice to have a yeah. But it is okay if the pumpkin is that word. If it is, if you apply
decorated.
colour to it, yes, you decorate it.
Decorated with colour.
Yes, oh, it's lovely. I like it. And then, just to make sure that you can have your online ID, I mean, if person does happen to see this stream, like, what? How do they know my ID? It's amazing. Then you need to
say he loves you lots.
Oh,
you need to know I'm not making fun. It's from a place of love.
Oh, that's fine. I'll just say it anyway. Painted. There you go.
There
Bit of fan service for everyone that
Oh!
was waiting for that northeasterly twang to my verbiage. Now, yeah, I was just thinking if Pumpkin Carver 10, like they like created their PSN ID like 10 years ago, and they've waited for this very moment.
This is their moment.
Yeah, but what you got to do, you got to enable this online ID switch so that when I go into view mode, we've got a nice little platform up there, and when you go nearby, there we are. It just pops up with the word person, but that could be your ID.
That could be your name.
Could be, yes. Anyway, that's what that's for. That's what that's for.
That's what that's there for. Bede and also the Biv were asking about having their rooms as unlisted, and I'm fairly certain as long as they're
that's absolutely fine.
Full, and as long as you can submit them to the page, that is fine to do with what them. And could they be archived afterwards?
I suppose so, as long as we have access to them and they're online privately. I'm just going to put on that link.
Yeah, as
which
long
is
as there, we are fine.
That is absolutely fine. You can unlist it, you can whatever, just as long as we get the ID so that we can like place it into our event. That's all we need, basically. Yeah. What else was I going to say? I've got loads of things. It's not like I've got like 2 things to choose from. Limits. Thermometer limits. You want to make sure that your pumpkin, eventual pumpkin, will be. Now I realise this has like different thermo than it should do. There we go. That's a bit better. So it has 1% gameplay, 1% graphics, and 0% audio. We were toying with the idea of musical pumpkins, but.
Yeah,
I feel like I might have given someone an idea for a room there, maybe. Just like go near it, like Simon Says, but with like pumpkins. You go near it and you have to replicate it. I'm just putting it out there. If I see that, I'd be very impressed. It'd be really cool to have. Right, I'm going to go back into sculpting because that was what I was going to do before I got sidetracked with online IDs and stuff.
I'll answer questions in the chat. Jamie, you give your lesson.
Boom. That sounds good. So I'm going to... this is a pro tip. If you want to have a symmetrical pumpkin, obviously the best thing to do is to have your mirror on, which is in the guide section of the sculpt mode. So whatever you put on one side will automatically be on the other side. Take care though, because obviously that will remain. So if you come out of mirror mode and then you move the sculpts around like that, they will stay in mirror mode. So if you want to make it a bit wonky, obviously don't go for this, but it's very easy to just make a symmetrical pumpkin that way, I suppose. Another good thing to do, that is another good point I'm going to come to. I accidentally almost deleted the pumpkin there. But definitely use a kaleidoscope if you want to have a repeating pattern. For whatever reason, we're not here to judge.
You want to? No.
Yeah, just go for it. Yep, it's your pumpkin. Yeah, and just make something like that if you want to, with different decorations on each bit, maybe. What else? We've done that bit. Right, I'm gonna go back to this one. Obviously, when you sculpt into sculpt mode, there are already sculpts available that were placed using like the kaleidoscope and a couple of inverted, soft blended cubes, I think, just to give it a weird, wonky kind of shape.
Yeah.
And if you do happen to accidentally move one of these, like obviously you will know that you have moved it because something like that will happen. But if you're not certain, just keep undoing until, like, if you do something that's really subtle, that's not really going to change it much. But we prefer it if you didn't like move the sculpts around. Just keep it as it is. But if you feel like you might have done that, just keep on doing. And if you see like a change in the shape, then you might have done. And it's best to kind of like restart from, like, go back into the element and then like remix it again, and then just go for it from there. Let me see. Right, I might as well just make a little pumpkin while I'm at it.
Yeah, go for it, man.
Why not? Have a bit of fun. I'm just going to do a really basic one. It's like this. To cut it in half, and we've got a little mouth as well. Happy little pumpkin.
Happy little pumpkin.
Happy little pumpkin. Oh, that's a little cute pumpkin. Lovely, lovely. Right, and then the next thing, which is really important, is if you want to decorate your pumpkin, you absolutely can. You can change the colour of the pumpkin by going into cut mode. This is one way that you could do it, and then selecting the colour that you'd like on the top here, and then I don't know, you might want a blue pumpkin. That's absolutely fine. Go for it.
Might do. Yeah.
You might do, yeah. Which is, why not? You know. And then you just hover over it. There you go. Cool. Easy as that. And then you can like start decorating over the top there. You could. It's cute, yeah. Cute blue pumpkin. It's a bit off. You wouldn't eat it, but you know.
Exactly.
It's not about eating. It's about levitating, glowing, flashing pumpkins.
Levitating.
Yeah, the best kind of pumpkins, obviously. One thing to mention though is when you do apply a colour like that, obviously the lid of the pumpkin, it remains like orangey, so you just want to apply the same colour. I do realise that we put in the guidelines that you can't edit the sculpts in the pumpkin lid group, which is this one. What that means is you can't do that and just like faff around with it and then just make that happen. You're absolutely fine to change the colour of anything in there, or the flex that you might use, or anything like that is absolutely fine. Just as long as you don't like actually go in and edit any of the sculpts in this group. Obviously, you're fine to use to change the pumpkin sculpts, but nothing in this group.
Yes.
Unless you're changing the colour, which is absolutely fine. While I'm on that kind of wavelength, it's also best not to use the looseness tool, because obviously then you start to see like transparency come in through the flecks on the exterior surface of the pumpkin, a bit like that. And then obviously when I go into the like the glowing aspect of the pumpkin later, if I did that and then sort of go back in, you can see that it kind of bleeds through, which doesn't look cool.
It looks a bit
weird. It does a little bit. It looks a bit weird though.
Cool.
But it doesn't. So no looseness changes, please. This is kind of a controversial one, but if you want to, I know, right? I'm going to drop some truth bombs here. No, if you want to, you can increase the sculpt complexity of the pumpkin, but only if it stays 1% or below that. Not that you could get a 0% pumpkin. But if I were to, say, go into the tools and then to sculpture detail, and then change it to increase rather than reduce, or you can just change it on that side, and then keep pressing R2, obviously we're going to see like really rapid changes, like it's already at 4%, and I've just pressed it 3 times.
Yeah.
So it's controversial in that it probably isn't an ideal thing to do, because you probably won't get that much mileage out of it. But it's still a thing that you can do if that's what you want to do, if that makes sense. Yeah. If you want to go for it and you're still under the limits, like magically, then yeah, absolutely go for it. Just sitting here with the blue pumpkin, it's kind of weird. There we go, we're back. We are back. Another thing, you can change the finish of the pumpkin as well. So if you fancy some kind of shiny metal pumpkin, go for it.
Yeah.
We're not to judge. Look at that. That looks really cool. Jam. Look at that. Yeah, man. That is something else.
That's a limited edition pumpkin right there.
Limited edition. Yeah, you can really make it stand out. I'm just thinking that this is what I'm going to do when I do my pumpkin. I've decided. I'm going to make it levitate as well. Why not? Look how cool that is. It's like a weird mech pumpkin. You could even go in and kind of like... You could sort of like subtract like lines out of it to give it like a bit of inverse greebling. So from a distance, it kind of looks like it's got panels on it and stuff. Just an idea. That might be what I'm doing. Yeah, right. I'm just going to check my list. I've got a list.
You got a list.
Got a list. Spray paint in sculpt mode. So if you don't fancy using coat mode. Coat mode, that's the most Georgiest thing I've said. Coat mode. If you don't fancy using coat mode,
making a coat mode.
Tom, you do the Geordie accent way better than I can.
I only do it
is true.
Spontaneously, and if I actually go to try and do it, it goes very Yorkshire.
Oh dear. That's not good.
She's like, you did
that look.
You tried, didn't you? You tried.
Yeah. That's a bit south of the location. A bit south of your destination. Yeah, I totally understand it. If you don't want to use cut mode, you can go into spray paint mode. So you click on that, and then you can pick a shape to apply that colour on.
Yeah.
I know this is another basic thing everyone's going, yeah, we know that. But you never know, there might be someone who's just going, oh, this is new information to me,
and
which is really cool.
I think sometimes it, like even like the most experienced people sometimes can just benefit from a rude base, because you get so far into it that sometimes you're like, oh yeah, of course.
Absolutely, you forget there are some limits, some things that are actually, you can do this if you want to, which is totally fine. I just give it a nose. Who cares? It's a pumpkin with a nose. Go ahead, judge me. Give it some ears as well. You can do this if you want to. Maybe not like I've done, because my attempt is... I'll just leave that for people to fill in. My attempt is pathetic. Maybe that's a word that you might use to describe it. But yeah, you can absolutely go, and you can even have like a message on the back if you wanted to, like...
Yeah.
Hello. Yeah, I love how we've just gone for the same kind of...
Boo!
Check out my horrible handwriting.
Yeah, look at that.
Get rid of that immediately.
Gamer, I did forget to ask you on Twitter.
Yes.
Weirdy did ask.
Weirdy, hello.
You said ask me at whatever. He said, why do you know why his fridge is making a funny noise?
Interesting. That could be due to the fan. I've had that issue before.
Okay, nice.
Yeah,
nice. There you go.
Yeah, absolutely. Just check the fan out. Check it out. You never know. That might be the issue. And if it's not, we'll do another stream, I guess, where I fix people's refrigerators.
Yeah. A DG
I'm done.
Just said Mr. Casey Jones can write his follow account on the back of his pumpkin. You can.
Yes, you absolutely can. Oh my goodness. Yes, we must do that. That's one that I'm going to tell Theo.
Then people could guess whose is whose by just looking at the number.
Wow. That's a really good idea. I like that a lot. I think that's a really good idea. That's really cool. Right, we've done cut mode. We've done spray paint. I guess I should go through the do nots, because as much freedom as we give you, we'll do a quick one. Yes.
Duck Economics asks, can I move the lid slightly so it fits on the pumpkin right?
Yeah, I do realise this is a point of contention because that is quite wonky, isn't it? It's a bit wonky. I appreciate if there are people out there with a bit of I was going to say OCD, but that's a bit overgeneralising, which is an actual mental issue.
True, yeah.
So if there's anyone out there who finds that it's a bit annoying, absolutely go for it. The only thing that we have, close that stuff up. Look at that. That is so much better. Obviously, it's so much better. So what you can do, just to check that everything is fine, is that I think it affects the levitation a little bit because it kind of wobbles. It wobbles a little bit. I'll demonstrate it rather than just. Can you see it has a bit of a wobble on? Look at that.
A bit of a wobble.
A little bit of a wobble. That's absolutely fine though, because from a distance, I suppose it doesn't really make much difference. It kind of blends in with the pumpkin a little bit. But feel free to correct my terrible pumpkin lid placing error. That is absolutely fine to do. This is okay. Do not worry. What else? What else? Oh, the do nots. I was going to go into the do nots, which are like donuts but worse. Edit
like
the logic.
Donuts, but worse. People are saying that I sound quite quiet, so I'm just going to work around with my microphone level and see how that works.
Oh, okay. Are you doing some whispering as well? What were we whispering in the Thursday stream? What was that?
I can't remember.
Oh, cast your minds back.
Do I sound louder now? Do I sound louder now?
Does he sound louder now?
Sound louder now. Sound louder now. Sound louder now. Ah, they love me regardless. Thank you. Better. Yep.
Oh,
yeah. Hello.
Lovely.
Maybe if I actually just move my microphone a bit closer.
I've got to whisper apparently.
You have to whisper.
Quiet.
Please, you have to be quiet. The room also isn't square, the Biff says. Oh, damn. Damn.
That's intentional.
Yeah.
Like I appreciate that I'm not very good at placing lids on pumpkins, but give me some credit, please. Thank you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we might do square rooms next year. Yeah, we might have square and rectangle rooms. Why am I calling
it
square?
If there's demand for it. If there's demand for it, we will. Anyway.
Oh, my whisper is now being added to Enoch Root's Halloween room.
Oh my goodness.
That's creepy.
Whisper stream soon, please.
A whisper stream. Oh, ASMR stream. Nice.
Hi, Jamie.
Hi, Tom.
How you doing?
All right.
If we stream really late at night, we'll talk like this.
Yes. Although, sorry to deafen anyone there. Although, we are technically always streaming at night in someone's time zone.
Oh yeah, that's true. It's night
so
time
we
somewhere.
we should always whisper. Basically, I think is the the answer to that. Never mind.
Pomeranian.
That is your claim to fame, I think.
How did I do? Pomeranian.
Wow, that was like listening to it again. That was amazing.
That was it, man. That was it.
Well
there
done.
It is.
Well done.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
No worries,
anyway,
no worries.
Continue on. Sorry, we're getting distracted.
The do nots.
The all important don'ts.
Yes, very important. But before I get into that, I just realised I didn't really go through these additional amazing. Look at these buttons and stuff. The glow, the pulse, the levitation.
Yes.
And now I have to go in and kind of make a really bad pumpkin. This one's going to be sad by default. Did you see that? Like it automatically had like a bit of a slant to the eye hole. Look at it. Oh, it's so miserable.
No.
Oh, it's like I've told it can't have playtime. It's horrible. Horrible, Tom. Anyway.
Oh, my goodness.
You can add glow to your pumpkin, obviously, by going to this part of the microchip, which says glow. Mm-hmm. Enable that. Then tweak it, because then you can also, as a little secret, you can change the glow colour by tweaking it and then going to switch colour, which is just all tied up together.
Yes.
So if you want a nice little blue glowing face, there you go.
Oh, look at it.
How's that?
Look at it.
It's really blue. It's really.
That is really blue.
Sorry, I've got to now make the pumpkin blue because it's a very sad pumpkin. Oh my goodness. It's shiny though. It's shiny. It's a anyway.
Question.
Yes. Hello.
Andy and Bella would like to know, can they delete the logic they don't use, both here and in the room?
Interesting. I would say no, but only because not that I'm like questioning anyone's ability to go, yes, this is the correct logic that we need, and the rest is like stuff I don't need. Just to keep everything kind of modular for us, that when we go to review all of the entries, it's a lot easier for us if we can see that everything is kind of the same, so that we can like push it through really quickly and say, all right, we're going to use these ones. But I totally know where you're coming from, and I think the next time we do something like this, we'll obviously make it a bit more modular, so if you don't want a particular feature, you can delete it, maybe. That sounds like a thing I can do. I'll look into it. But that's really good feedback for us as well, so thank you.
Thank you. And also, Rodanti, like, can we carve 2 faces on the pumpkin, one on the front and one on the back?
That's awesome. Carve as many faces as you like, but remember that the front of the pumpkin is this part where you can see the settings custom icon on the front of the microchip. So obviously you wouldn't carve on the back of it and expect this part to be shown. Yes. So if I did that, we would still showcase the front. So if you wanted to be a bit cheeky, what you could do is sort of have like a pumpkin face here on the left side of it, and also one on the right, so they kind of both have like shared screen time, I guess. Does that make sense? Am I talking nonsense?
No, that's shared screen time. Fair enough.
I'm completely happy with that.
I get what you're saying, get where you're going with.
Cool, lovely.
Cool.
Also, we don't do that bit. The pulse, you can add a bit of pulse to your pumpkin, so you can make it pulse, you can make it weep like I've done. It's having a bit of a digital cry. What am I talking about?
A digital cry?
A digital sob. A digital sob. You can go into the...
Wallow.
Oh my goodness, Tom. Digital Wallow, that's like band name.
Thanks, man.
What's its song name potential?
Digital Wallow, that's an album name.
Album name. Gotta be. It's a healthy compromise, I think.
Yeah,
absolutely. Get your pulse on, for lack of a better term.
Get your pulse on.
Get your pulse on. Enable the pulse button. And then get into this microchip that appears when you scope into it.
Get your pulse on and get into this microchip.
I'm just like a lyric machine today.
Whoa.
You know? That's
someone write that song.
That's like the first single from... Yeah, maybe not. So you want to go into pulse frequency. This switch... Sorry, is it a switch? It's a value slider. What am I talking about? The value slider, and then drag it to the left for a really slow pulse. You probably can't even see that change, so I'm going to add a bit to it. There we go. It's a bit of a slow pulse, or you can have it right up to 3 arbitrary numbers. I appreciate it, but adds a bit of a faster pulse to it. If you want that, I'm just going to put it back down to 1.5. 1.5.
No, 1.5. Is anyone here? 1.5? Mark J. Kirkham asks, can you continue making changes to your room or pumpkin after you've submitted it? Or will you have to resubmit?
Right. If you make any changes after you have submitted, after the deadline, which is on the 27th of September at about 11:30 at night, BST?
Yeah, about that time.
BST, GMT? Yeah, BST. Anything published after that will not be counted, but if you submit it and then publish it, we will take the version that was published before the deadline.
Yes.
If that makes sense.
So you can basically update it until Sunday.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
And then if you update it after that, that won't be counted in, but we'll still add your pumpkin or your room into it. It just won't be the most recent version. It will be the one that's published. This is going to make it quite difficult for us, but the one that was released before midnight, I guess, on the 27th of September.
Yep.
Cool.
Awesome.
Lovely. And levitation, obviously. I showed this earlier, but you can go into the microchip on the right-hand side, and you can change the height like that, and you can change the frequency like that, so you can make it wobble up and down. I think that's it for the pumpkin. I think I'm all pumpkined out. Maybe. But if anyone else has any questions about the pumpkin while I'm doing like stuff on the room, just let me know. I will leave the pumpkin here to be sad on its own. Sorry.
Oh, bless it.
Oh my goodness. I feel awful now. Right. Rooms, I guess.
Rooms.
Hang on. Just need to think. Are there any like reminders that we need to tell people?
Go on. You've got one.
I've got a good one. When you go to indreams.me/challenges, make sure you're signed in.
Yes.
Thank you to whoever that was on Twitter that reminded me.
It was O'Malley.
Thank you. Yes, that's the one. Yeah, because otherwise you won't be able to submit your stuff. There won't be like an entry field and a button to submit. So make sure you are signed in when you go into that link. And also, submitted content must comply with the PSN Terms of Service and Dreams Community Guidelines. Basically, that means no IP infringing content, no offensive stuff. Don't make something like we don't make obviously
basically
offensive stuff.
The way we were looking at it was like Halloween is obviously a bit of a different beast because it can be quite scary. Scary? I don't know. Scary.
Very scary.
Very scary. But if you are still umming and ahhing about whether it meets the guidelines, then it's probably best to err on the side of caution. But yeah, we've put the guidelines on the rules on the let me link to the blog post now, just so you have that.
Do it.
Yes. Anyway, shall we move on to the old room?
Let us do that. Indeed.
And we did have a question for the room. From Liam a minute ago. Let me just put the link to these guidelines and the rules and stuff here.
Certainly.
There it is. Y Ledbetter says he's going to make a punkin.
Ooh,
a punkin.
Nice. A punkin. I wonder how that's going to work.
The question from Liam was, can I just check, if we have a trigger zone, does it have to detect a tag labelled puppet, or can we just leave it as it is?
Make it detect the tag label puppet, because we had some issues when we were testing this, I think. For some reason, when we placed the platformer puppet, it wouldn't detect the possessed controller sensor. It would only detect a tag on the puppet itself. Now, we're not really sure if that's like a bug or just an issue that we had when we were just playtesting, I guess. But I suppose if you want to test it, the best thing you can do is go into the controller logic, just get rid of this wire, and just rename this to puppet.
Wire.
Begone wire, begone, and then make sure that it says puppet like that. That's what we're going to be detecting. Also, on top of that, if you want something to look at the puppet's face, which you might have something that rotates and looks at it. I can't remember what my previous example was, but it was something really creepy, like an eyeball in a jar or something.
Classic.
Classic eyeball in a jar. What we are doing is we're having a look at me tag, which is kind of going to be placed like this. Like you can see the sort of action point of the tag. I'm not sure if that's the right term, but that is going to be kind of in the middle of the head, like that, sort of up here. So that when you do have a look at rotator or something like that in a trigger zone or something, it will look at the puppet's head rather than at the puppet's feet, which is this tag, the puppet tag, obviously. So, yeah.
Falcon Rich asks, please confirm the location point of the puppet tag. Jamie said bottom on Twitter, but that's a little confusing. I have logic that is dependent on where the point is.
Absolutely. They are. The puppet tag will be between the puppet's feet. Now, I failed to clarify that earlier, I apologise. But it will be here rather than behind the puppet as it appears on the possessed puppet tag, which detects if the puppet's possessed or not. That will be removed, and it will have the puppet tag in its place, which will be it will be on the grid as well.
Yes.
So it will be like this once it's, but kind of like really in the middle. So it's not going to be like completely obvious. Kind of like that, I suppose. If you want to be really precise, it's going to be directly between them. Kind of like the smallest bit space between the legs, but halfway between that.
Falco Rich says, "Okay, thanks. That's what I was hoping for."
Awesome, brilliant. I'm glad I can help.
Excellent.
Lovely. Right. I'm gonna leave this guy here as well. Nice. Cool. I suppose the first option. Sorry, I just got a question through from Prudente. For the room, realised the music chip in the middle of the room. Powers down. Yeah, this is a good point. When the puppet is at the edge of the room, because the puppet tag is in front of the puppet itself. We're obviously with the tag between the puppet's feet. This probably won't be as much of an issue, but you are very welcome to scope into the room, like I have done with L1 and X. go to the music and ambience microchip, scope into that one as well. And in the music, is it the music one? Oh no, sorry, it's in the play detection microchip. There is a trigger zone with puppet on it. Now feel free to move the left and right side so that there's a bit more leeway when it comes to like when music is detected. I think as long as it doesn't sort of intrude on someone else's room, it's absolutely fine to use, and that goes for any sculpts that kind of protrude as well. But I'll get into that as well because that's a different issue entirely. But yeah, feel free to change the dimensions of the trigger zone just to make it actually work. Like we tried to be as close as possible when we did this, but obviously we just missed this out when we did a quick run of it. But yeah, hopefully that's good.
Cool. Sorry, I'm just catching up on questions.
It's fine. It's absolutely fine.
Kutea asks, so if someone's trigger zones are detecting just a regular old possessed puppet, will that still be fine? In other words, do we need to set things to detect the puppet tag, or is that just your room-specific logic?
Right. So if the room's trigger zones are detecting, yeah, I think that's fine. That's absolutely fine. We're just using the puppet tag because there's a bit of like logic in it that relies on having that tag there. It's an easier go-to for us. Basically, you are more than welcome to, instead of using, and I'm just going to find the actual trigger zone. You're more than welcome to change it to this one, the possessed controller sensors. If that works in your scene with the kind of the same setup that we have for the puppet that we've just placed on here, then that's absolutely fine. You're free to submit that, and if it works, then that's cool. But what we've used is just a tag with the word puppet in the detection kind of field. Yeah. So yeah, that's absolutely fine to do.
Cool.
That's cool.
Just asking for clarification, my room has a movable object. Just asking for clarification, my room has a movable object that's connected via connector to a non-movable one, but that non-movable object is set to animate. Is that allowed?
Good way to check is if you... Every time I move out, I see that sad pumpkin, I'm going to move out less. What you need to do, just to check that it's all working... This also goes for making sure that you are scoped into the group, which I'm also going to go into, because I know a lot of people have just remixed the template and then just started putting assets into it, but I'll get to that later. What you can do is grab the room like that, just pop it to the side, and if you have something inside the room that you want to kind of work in the actual event, then it will move when you go into play mode with R3. So obviously you saw there the puppet fell through because the room moved, but the puppet wasn't part of the room's group. To change that, what I would need to do, because it's movable, I would have to first grab hold of it with R2, hold L1X to add it to the group, like that. And then apply the workaround, which is to go into your connectors, grab something like a string, anything is absolutely fine, and then parent to child, so it's the room you want to click on, and then just click onto the puppet as well, so you can see that the puppet, when I go into play mode, has teleported rather, with the room. So if I grab that now and then do a clone and then press R3 to go into play mode, you can see that the puppet has moved with it.
Yes.
Rather than it fall when the room has moved. So hopefully...
Which we don't want.
We do not want that. That would be terrible. Imagine all the puppets at the bottom. It'd be like a horrible death pit. Well, that'd be quite cool actually for Halloween, wouldn't it?
Yeah. It would be very
Puppet
good.
Death Pit is another band name. Sorry, go on.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Getting sidetracked. Goodness me, Jamie.
Goodness me.
Falcorich asks, when the rooms are placed in the scene, will they be aligned with the grid? Otherwise, I have to do some math to compensate.
When the rooms are placed into the scene, we are...
Basically, when we put it all together.
Yeah, I'm going to demonstrate how that's going to look for us.
We've got some magic going on.
We've got some magic behind the scenes. So I'm just going to place some random rooms down, as you do. There's another one with the left exit. I have another one with the right exit there. I'm going to clone this one, and then I'm going to have another right exit. I think that'll do it. No, I'm going to clone that one again. And then I'm going to press R3, and then, as you can see, it takes the last placed...
flashing.
Oh, thank you. It takes the last placed element, and then the rest of it kind of goes, am I another one that needs to be placed? And goes, yep, right, and then sort of like go to the back of the line, and then rotate appropriately. So it's not going to be on grid, but it's going to be aligned more or less perfectly with the rest of the rooms that are placed, which I suppose if you need clarification on the position, it's kind of it's going to be really arbitrary. It's kind of I don't know actually how you would check that. You would have to place 4 rooms down and then your own to make sure that would be like the first in a sequence or something like that. I think basically I'm not really sure how to answer that because it isn't necessarily aligned with the grid, but it is aligned with other rooms which are grid aligned. It is aligned. Yes.
I would say yes.
That's a good answer. Yes, absolutely.
Yes, but yeah, that is also magic.
Yes, it is magic.
And Enoch was asking about looking for the sun and sky gadget. If you can't find the logic, I imagine just turn on preview visibility, blah blah.
What you need to do to find the sun and sky gadget, which is going to be a preview of the atmosphere when it comes to the actual event, is you need to scope in once into this group, scope in twice, and then you can find this one at the foot of the entrance, which you can tell because I've put powered down text displays that say this is the entrance, this is the exit.
Yeah.
In this microchip here, which is called Room Properties, if you want to scope into that with L1 and X, you can find the Sun and Sky gadget, which is powered off. Simply, you can actually just turn it on from there if you want, and then boom, you've got your creepy kind of ambience going on. So when you go into play mode, there you go. You can see what kind of sun and sky thing you're kind of going for. Also, another pro tip, because I noticed I didn't actually mention this because I didn't think it would be an issue, but I realised this might be quite useful if people want to see what the eventual room will look like, exterior included. So if you pop a NOT gate down, and you also pop a transmitter down, a wireless transmitter, link the NOT gate to the transmitter, and rename the wireless transmitter to in scene, like this. Nice. I think this is what I called it. Nice. Yeah. What you'll see is that the invisible sculpts will become visible, and then you can kind of see what it's going to look from the outside. Now this is useful if you just want to know what it's going to look like, I guess. We're not keeping it a secret, I suppose, but that's kind of the aesthetic that we're going for. If someone wants to make like a kind of consistent style with what we've got, I guess.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. But yeah, that's just there anyway. That's another thing you can do if you want to. Cool. Do you have any more questions?
Let's have a look. I think Redante just asked a question. Hello, Cam joined.
Oh, sorry, I've just seen one from Duckonomics. If you forget to turn it off, that's absolutely fine because because what it will do, as gadgets do, it kind of takes the average of all of the gadgets you've placed down when it comes to the sun and sky. So I'll just demonstrate. I mean, obviously people are going to know this anyway, but I'll just power it off and just place it here. And then power it on and sort of take it outside of the group, like that. If I just keep cloning this, nothing is going to change, and it's going to be the same as the one that we have in the event. So all it will do is try to take the average of 2 gadgets and then inevitably go, oh, well, that's exactly the same thing, so don't worry about it. If you forget to turn off, if you want to turn off, you can publish it again, I guess, if you want to. Yeah, cool. Hope that answered your question.
I think so. And Redante was asking about, is all the music and sounds needing to be 3D panning, or the ones we put in the music microchip can be played in the whole scene? Right. That's a
really good question, because I really wanted to cover that on the previous stream, but I totally forgot. Yeah, all of the stuff that you place into the ambience chip, kind of over the top of it, does not need to be 3D panned. The 3D panning was a suggestion in order to keep everything a bit more self-contained. So, if, for example, if you had an explosion sound in one room, you wouldn't hear it in someone else's room because the position would be relative to your room. So basically, all the 3D panning was if you have like a door creaking sound effect, that would be audible in your room and nobody else's, and you can easily do that with 3D panning. For sure, don't worry about it if it's music and you've placed it in here because it will only activate in this room anyway.
Yeah,
but everything else 3D panned if you want to. Just make sure that nothing is going to like bleed out and be audible in someone else's room. Also, I saw Enoch Root's light gadget. Sort of
yeah,
worry.
Saying about the 6.
Yes, I mean, yeah, you can pop down 6. There you go. They're 6. Not very well placed, but
but I think glows don't count. Yeah, sorry, Jamie.
It's absolutely fine. Don't worry about it. It's all good. Glows don't count, so you can have a glowing object like that. Obviously, there's light that comes off of it, but it's not as intrusive as the light gadgets, which can be pointed at things like that. Which is another thing I wanted to mention. Don't do that, because when there's another room sort of placed right next to your room like that, you can see that the light's coming through, and that might interfere with someone's atmosphere. Like if they've gone for a really dark, kind of foggy, surreal kind of thing, and there's a blinding light shining through it going, well, here's all the hidden things that they did. It would be most unpleasant for that creator. So basically just be really cautious, I guess, is I suppose that's a good tip for any of the community events, because they all kind of come together, I guess.
Yeah. Everyone's saying your lights do look good though.
Thank you. Yes, I went for that good-looking 6 lights placed together motif.
Entropy it says, be a considerate neighbour. Keep the noise down. Don't shine lights in their room.
Yeah, that is very good advice outside of Dreams as well. Don't shine lights into people's windows.
Yeah. Duck and I was asking about putting lights out into my room from outside windows. No, because it will get blocked.
Yeah.
I
mean,
they will have walls.
We were originally going to have that as an option because this looks really cool when you pop a light down and it sort of does that, and you can look through it and it's like, wow, there's the refraction of the shadow or something. But we decided against this because it, as you can see, you can imagine how that would look if we had the visibility of the stone sculpt on. You would see like a blinding spotlight. I suppose we could have changed that if we'd made it so that it doesn't... I'm not really sure, but it doesn't look very good from the outside. So, for example, if we have like a point in the path where there's like a U-turn, and and the path kind of comes back on itself like that, and you looked... if you were in this room and you kind of like looked out and you went, oh, like where's that spotlight coming from? It kind of takes away from the consistency of the design, I guess. But we'll look into it for the next event, just to give people that option. Yeah.
No doors. Don't close off your rooms. It needs to be a free-flowing thing. To be considerate for all players.
Absolutely.
Is it possible to modify the window frame from the inside anyway? Yes, you can play around.
Sure.
You can't change the windows, but you can obviously like work around it. So don't actually change the shape of the windows, but like you can add your frames, you can block them from the inside. That's up to you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's have a look. What else is going on here? The Biv asks, any cast shadow limitations?
No. You can do whatever you like with the shadows. Like if you had like a light in the room and you want to make like a scary silhouette or something appear on the other side of the room, that's absolutely fine. Go for it.
Ghost Canary asks, it's a really good one, just to make a point on it. Another question is, are you giving feedback to the people that already submitted? In case it's one of the rules. I ask in case of someone submitting something that took many hours and missed rules. I've been surfing and seen some cool stuff, but I can clearly see things wrong, and it's potty for creators. We do agree.
We were just talking about this, weren't we?
Yeah, we'd love to be able to give feedback to everybody, but unfortunately that would be a whole lot, and we wouldn't have time. We were actually talking about the ways to improve this flow through the next events, so hopefully it's something we can take on board. We do try and make the rules as available and visible to as many people as we can. So unfortunately, we won't be able to give feedback. We'd absolutely love to, because it would be great to work with you. But unfortunately, there is only 6 of us working on the event, I think.
Yeah, that's right.
Give or take a few others. But yeah,
Yes.
we are a small team. So we'd love to, but unfortunately, we won't be able to.
Yes, absolutely. And a shout out to Fluffy and Sassy for bringing that up on Twitter, because that's a really good feedback for us next time. Sorry, I just saw another question from sorry, I'm not going to get that name right. Aptfuerte.
Fuerte?
That sounds right.
Think
yeah.
so.
Can timelines be used? Yeah, absolutely. So if you have like a rolling animation in your room, obviously you can have like a looping timeline like this.
Yeah.
But again, be considerate, because everything that is powered on consistently activates even when you're in someone else's room. So what I would suggest is if you link the trigger zone to the timeline so it only plays when you're inside the room, that is probably the best course of action for any kind of ongoing events that are happening in your room.
Nice. Enoch says, can we add more internal slides for Tom? If there is a room that I walk into and it's just a maze to get through,
I've seen that room. You're talking about a hypothetical room. It exists.
Am I? No.
Yes.
No.
I've played it and it's great. I got lost in it. How
goodness.
small?
Did you?
Like, look how small this is.
Yeah. What?
I got lost.
How'd you get lost?
Couldn't find my way out, man.
Goodness me.
What even is this? Great.
And then Enoch asks, "Can we get confirmation that it's in? If you have put it in, if you've put it in the entry page, it will say thanks for your entry.
Yes.
As soon as you put it in, that is in. We can guarantee that is in there.
Yeah.
Gecko, new instruments. The instrument update. Have an update soon. No news just yet. That caught me off guard, but yeah, update soon. Any tips on how to prevent candles from shining through the walls from Zorlok?
Interesting. Prevent candles shining. I'm going to just have a look, see why that might be an issue, because I can't think right now. But I'm guessing some kind of flame like that. That's a really good candle, obviously. Shining through the walls.
Verbal, do you mean... just trying to think, trying to think what you mean. Do you mean like to the other person's room? Because if so, no.
Yeah, that's... if you have a left or right exit... I'm going to put a left or right exit down first, so I can see this. Yeah. So, right, we've got the left exit down. I hope I'm not making an example of verbal, because that's a very good question. I'm just flagging a bit. Let me say, can you block off the portion of the room that is beyond those exit doors? I guess no, because I think anything that blocks off the kind of flow of the room.
Yeah.
But if I'm totally mistaken with what that means, feel free to correct me and I will try to answer that for you.
No, there is a portion of the room after the exit. I think, yes, that is the connecting bit. So, no.
Yes.
The answer to your question is no, because that is what will connect it to the other room.
Yeah, so if I did this, for example, and then press play, that's going to be the connecting part of that room that goes to another section like that. I hope that's what you mean.
We got a bit blah.
Yeah, we've got Tuesday brain. Collective Tuesday brain.
Tuesday brain. Cam asks, sorry for asking, but you aren't allowed to give the room a different colour, right? You can paint the room whatever colour you want.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you can change the colour of these default sculpts that we have. So if you scope into the room, like this bit, you can change the colour of that, you can change the colour of the ceiling, and you can change the colour of the floor. But we ask you not to edit the shapes. Like, I don't know, you might stretch this. What am I doing? Stretch. There we are. You wouldn't stretch it like out like that necessarily, because we want a consistent style, I guess, over all of the rooms. And you also wouldn't put like holes into it like that, because you would see like bricks and stuff, I guess. So you can change the colour, you can change the flex style, anything apart from like the looseness and the glow, stay away from those. But if you have your own walls that go around the windows and the door frame and stuff like that, then you feel free to remove the sculpt, so get rid of that, because everything will still work for us, I guess, like that.
Yeah.
and the wall will move with it because it's inside the group. And I just want to make that perfectly clear, because I saw quite a few rooms that I mentioned this earlier, but I'm just going to go through it again because it's really important. When you remix your room, you start off with this template, and I think you may be scoped into it once already like this, and then you might start creating your assets and then come out of it. And then when you copy it, I think this is, yeah. So when you copy it, you can see that part of that room is still hanging around because it's not in the group that moves with the room. So make absolutely certain that when you remix the template, you scope in once, scope in twice. You will know you're in the correct portion of the room or the correct level of scoping if you can see a microchip on the floor with room properties and 2 powered off text displays and your music and ambience chip. So if you're in that area, you know that it's perfectly fine. You can obviously check by scoping right out, so L1 in circle until you're completely out of everything, then copying your room and then pressing play. And then you can see that the room and all of its contents, aside from if you put movable objects in there, will move to the exit. So the entrance will align with the exit of the previous room.
Nice.
Yeah, I just want to make that absolutely clear. So if you know that you might, just check basically, because we don't want to have to foul like a really good room. Like if they've done everything absolutely perfect, but it doesn't kind of move with the room, then it's not going to work in our event, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So make absolutely certain, publish it, republish it, make sure that it's completely working, and then that makes everyone happy, I guess.
Yeah. A couple of people asking if they can use spray paint.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, of course you can. So on the walls, I guess. Yeah, of course you can. Yeah, just go in like that. Get the spray paint tool, blah, 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 blah. I didn't do anything because I wasn't aligned anywhere. There we go. Look at that. Art. A work of art.
Yes.
Right there, buddy.
Apfuete asks, but if that, in response to your previous point, but if that hasn't been done, it'll be possible to group everything together with L1 and X.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'll demonstrate that now because it's a really good workaround. So if I've only scoped in once and I've started to put sculpts down into the room like that, and then I'm still in that group. So I'm just going to have a few actually, because then you can see it a bit better. And then I scope out and then play it. It's like, oops. That happened. Oh no, what a shame. You can easily scope into the room again, double tap X on any object within it, and then tap X on the room itself in order to deselect it. And then tap X again on the auto guide because we don't want that in there as well. It's kind of complex, I apologise, but it's probably the easiest workaround so that you have all the contents that you want to be in the room. Then, to make it a bit easier for yourself, you can go into Grid Snap, make sure it's a suitable grid size, grab it, R2, and then hold L1 and X so that you're staying on grid. And then if you scope out of everything, you should find, when you copy this again and press R3 to playtime, that it moves with the room. So it's, in that sense, it's perfect, but obviously not with the sculpts that I've put in there, which are terrible. Completely awful. Make them look nice, basically. Don't do what I did.
Bad Swede asking about the puppet. The puppet that people will be playing as in the event is going to be the platforming puppet.
Absolutely.
There was a question about like the characters be asked to use buttons and stuff. Yes. Of course.
Can you make it so that happens?
What are we taking? Are we taking anything away from the ability of the puppet?
Absolutely not. But in the sense that you would have to use instead, like normally with a platforming game, you would have to look at the controller sensor that's already on the puppet, and then like X is jump, left stick is move or whatever, and then circle is this and that. What you would do instead is have a controller sensor that's probably linked to a trigger zone. Probably the one inside the room itself. I'm just going to get rid of my awful sculpts just to make this a bit easier. And then scope into the music and ambience microchip. If you go to the play detection and then take the output of this trigger zone, then it's kind of set up for you. So you just want to scope out with L1 and circle, and then hook it to the power of this controller sensor. Then what you need to do is go to important properties in IO, and go to possession mode and select remote controllable. And I do this as just force of habit, but I deselect player 4, 3, and 2 because we don't really need them. By default, it's going to be like one imp in the room anyway. So make sure that it's got player 1 selected and it's remote controllable. And then basically it's the same thing. You could have another trigger zone if you want something to be activated in a certain part of the room. Just use these. It's effectively the same thing. It's just a bit like keyhole surgery because you don't have that puppet itself. You have to go, this is what the button should be pressed right now, and then that activates this. A good example is Andy's room from the last room stream that we did with the example floor. He uses spells, and he does that by having like a group of paints, I think, that activate when certain buttons are pressed, but only in the room, and it kind of follows the puppet around because it looks for the puppet tag and it teleports to it all the time. So it's effectively like having your own version of the puppet, but without the puppet. So it's a bit easier and a bit more variety, I suppose. Hopefully that answered a couple of questions, but if it made more, I understand.
We've got a few more.
Yeah.
Skinny Chad saying again, can you just select all and group to make sure it's all together?
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Sorry, I just want to go through it again because it's quite complex. So when you start in the room like that, and you've got your sculpts, I'm actually just going to put a few gadgets down because it's a bit easier. So those movement gadgets, I want them to move with the room. So what I would do is scope out of everything by pressing L1 and circle constantly, and then pressing L1 and X to scope into the room itself. Double tap on one of the gadgets, anything in the room, deselect the room, deselect the auto guide, make sure you're on grid mode because that kind of preserves the position a bit easier. Grab onto one of the things that you want to move with the room, then press L1 and X and it will go inside the room. So when I put something down and then play it, when I look into this one, they should have moved. Oh, they did.
Moved.
They should have moved. They probably did. But yeah, that's basically the idea, that they move with it. It's probably because I put gadgets down, they don't preserve the position, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Cool
workaround.
And then I think last question. Ghost Canary asks, wait. If you group all together, you need to leave the auto thingy gadget deselected.
Yes, that's absolutely right, because that makes it easier for us when we place them. Like that just makes it easier for us to put things down into the scene. Yeah.
A couple of people asking about having a trigger censored camera for a short time.
Certainly.
Yeah,
that makes sense. I think it makes sense, but only right. Okay, this is when it gets a bit spotty. The trigger zone that detects the camera should be powered on by a trigger zone that detects the puppet. Otherwise, there is a chance that how do I put this? The camera will be detected in your room, but you will be in someone else's room. So the camera will still be in your room, but the puppet will be in someone else's room, if that makes sense. So make sure, I'm going to do this because it'll make way more sense, and I've got the tools at my disposal. Why didn't I think of this? So if you have a trigger zone here, two trigger zones even, one of them detects the camera, like that, and the other one detects the puppet or the possessed controller sensor. You would need to make sure that the one that detects the puppet powers on the one that detects the camera, because it would make sure that it only looks for it when the puppet is inside your room. Otherwise we get a bit of an overlap, and that might not be fair on someone else's room, that like a sound starts playing if it's near or something like that. I hope that's not too complex a workaround, but hopefully not.
Captain Morgan asks, can I add a laugh to my pumpkin if it doesn't add 1% audio percentage?
No, sorry. We'd love to do that. We might even incorporate it in a future event, but yeah, basically no sound is what we mean by 0% audio. I understand how cool it would be to have a pumpkin that sort of like laughs as you walk past. But I suppose you could implement that in a room as a workaround. Like I know it's not the pumpkin patch or anything, but Yeah.
That was one of the things we were saying to the people who had, like, when we first saw people submitting pumpkins that had added sculpts, like, just because it can't go in the pumpkin patch doesn't mean it can't go in your room. So if you want it in your room, you can. And then the Biv was asking, a few other people were asking about is there any way to slow down the puppet? So could you have anything in the room that affects the movement of the puppet? I think the stance we're taking is probably best not. Purely because of the player experience. We want people to be able to take it at their own speed.
I'm just sort of brainstorming at the same time, and I think if you want... hang on, I really need to quickly check the guidelines, but feel free to ask more questions while I'm looking.
Yeah.
If there's anything else, obviously.
So we have to use those tags, not the space transform from settings gadget.
Yes, that's correct.
Just having a look through.
Guidelines.
Good. Badsby says, good, got loads of small sounds in the room. Nice.
Should be good, I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah, the thing with the pumpkin, because the pumpkins is obviously just going to be like sort of one big space, so if everyone had some audio, it would be a disaster.
Yeah, exactly.
Right,
interestingly...
oh, go on.
Oh, sorry, go on. No,
it's fine.
Okay,
it's fine. It's fine,
It's fine. Alright. Now, we haven't mentioned anything about force appliers in the guidelines, and that is one way that you can alter the speed of a puppet, I guess. So,
okay.
Yeah, I guess you can do that if you want to, just as long as it doesn't, like, again, with everything, as long as it doesn't bleed out to someone else's room. Or I suppose you could have one that kind of, like, forces you to someone else's room just by, like...
Just freeze you out.
Yeah, just got, like, a path that takes you straight through. Be considerate,
I guess the stance we're taking is that we want to be able to have people experience this at their own pace.
Yes.
So, like, if for some reason, like, if someone wants to get to their room and then they can't progress through another room before that's what we were saying about puzzles in the first stream, was like, if there was something that was stopping someone from progressing, then we'd ask you to not have that. But by the sounds of it, you could slow down or move it.
You can absolutely slow down. You can slow down by doing this. I think this is a good workaround. If you
the Biv says I just can't figure out how to do it.
Oh well, hopefully this works. I've no idea if it will, but probably. We're doing improv now. I don't see why this wouldn't work. But if you put down a platformer puppet, and then you have your force applier with a bit of a... Right, I think the interesting thing here is you would have to be able to dictate what the path of the puppet would be. So what you would do is make a directional force and make sure that the trigger zone covers the path that the puppet can take. Now, this would only work in one direction, unless you did some kind of weird thing using laser scopes to detect which way the puppet's going, which we can't really give. But that's one way to do it, even if you go the other way and then it pushes the... Oh, hang on. I'm birthing a thought. Birthing a thought.
He really said that, guys.
Really said it.
Really said it.
I apologise, that was a terrible way of phrasing it, but if you had a sculpt that follows the puppet... hang on, I need to demonstrate this.
Ginger says JB should have just said no.
Yeah, I should have just said no instead of getting into this mess, but I love a challenge. Even though it's probably like really easy to do. But if you had a sculpt like this and you make it follow the puppet by looking for a tag with puppet on it, it won't have that because I've just put that down. I suppose you could have it always trail behind the puppet. Oh, this is so complex. This is like a really bad workaround. I'm so sorry. But what you would do then is place the sort of action point of the force applier. Can you do that? Yeah, of course you can. Yeah, you grab this. Do you grab that one? What am I doing? Yeah, you grab that and sort of like place it in front of the sculpt so that it's forcing the puppet in the opposite direction, but the sculpt is also following the puppet. So you would always, if you were walking forward, you would always... I suppose even if you turned around, it would still force the puppet in a negative velocity or something. It makes sense to me in my head. and I just made that up on the spot. So yeah, no is the answer to that one. No, you cannot. If you can make it work, go for it. But otherwise, skirt around it, I guess.
And then Reddish Boat was asking, is physical paint okay if attached to the room? Yep.
Totally.
Again, as long as it's within the limits. And then final question was, again, was on Qtera asking about force supplies. And so if a force supplier pushed them just once as they tried to exit, but after that freely allowed them to leave, would that be considered slowing their progress?
That is considered stopping, yeah. Even though it sounds like we're just sort of limiting it a little bit, it's still preventing a path, which is one thing that we put into the guideline, is that we want the player to be able to go everywhere, and all the objectives that you might add, like Andy did, he's just got such a great example for this, but all of the objectives in his room were completely optional. They were supplementary to the path. Like, you could just walk through it and... Like, I'm not listening to this bat that's talking to me. I'm going to go and see someone else's room. No, thank you. No, thank you. Or you could just play everything, and it doesn't make a difference because the path is still there. Yeah. I suppose. Sorry, exactly. I know it's a bit of a wonky kind of thing, but...
And final question, which I think is a good one to end on. Mark J. Kirkham says, wait, this event isn't going to be scary, is it?
It might be.
It might be.
I showed Tom. Sorry, I think we might have been going in the same direction there. I showed you a room earlier that someone published, and it was yesterday. It was yesterday, just as we were like getting ready to leave, and I gave like a kind of running commentary as I was playing it, and. Whose was it? It was.
Well, we won't. Let's not. We won't name. We won't keep it secret.
Yeah. But yeah, really
basically, we've been working on ways to make it like, if someone, because we appreciate that horror is a really like subjective thing. Like, it's like some people may find something scary that others are like, that's not scary at all. So we're sort of going to make we're going to work really well to make sure the flow is friendly to all. We are thinking of. We are sort of devising a way to let you know if a floor, because it's going to be split into floors. We are going to work on a way to make you aware that if the floor you're about to play is a scary one.
Yes, we are.
We have got that system in place, which was obviously really good for smaller children. And we're going to run it. I'm going to run it by some MM parents so that they can be like,
"That's really cool."
Yes, this is scary. But yeah, Halloween. Obviously, there is going to be a horror element. It won't be there won't be anything that would be deemed too scary that would probably then be in in violation of our guidelines. That's obviously then against the rules. But there is going to be stuff. There is probably going to be some stuff that's going to. I mean, some of the stuff we play on the stream absolutely terrifies me. But we've never played anything on the stream that we wouldn't.
That duck game. The
duck game
with the duck.
Exactly.
I didn't tell you anything about that. I didn't even mention it. The duck flied.
No, exactly. So, would it be possible to have a family-friendly setting, Red Cloud? So that's kind of what we're on about.
Yes.
We will have something in there that lets you know if it's going to actually be scary. So then it's down.
Yeah. We'll do that for you. We will do that manually.
And then. And then, how will it be possible to clarify as to whether the room is to be viewed in first person or third person? Please, everything will need to be viewable in third person. There will be a first person, like you can shift to first person, but the predominant playable experience is going to be third person.
Yeah, and on the back of that, sorry, I just want to demonstrate like what the first person view will look like. Just if anyone's curious. Feel free to keep talking. I'm just going to do this.
Cool. Yeah, and the same goes for people who are asking about VR. It will be VR compatible, but we aren't obviously going to. We can't guarantee that all creators will have made their room suitable for VR. If you understand what I'm saying. So it won't be like a purely VR experience or anything. It will be available to everyone. Everyone can play it.
Cool. Sorry, I was just doing a bit of a puppeting trick. But if you want to... Sorry, I'm interrupting all the time. I apologise.
No, it's fine. We're bros. We're bros.
Cool. If you want to check out what your room will look like in VR mode, VR first person mode, I should clarify. When you go into you place the puppet down, you go into the controller logic microchip, you find the controller sensor, go to the camera properties, and then drag the camera distance and bring it all the way down to 0. And then when you play it, you will see that you're automatically in first-person mode. Cheap workaround. It's really cool.
There you go. Right.
I'm going to leave the sad pumpkin in the middle.
Leave the sad pumpkin to the middle.
Also,
if
sorry.
Now, that's what they find.
Yeah, sorry. I just had like a last-minute thought. With the scary stuff, like, obviously don't feel like obligated to make scary things. Like, if you don't want to have a scary room,
no, absolutely.
You can. I was thinking about doing like a skeleton rave, like a skeleton disco or something. That's not scary in the slightest. Just do something Halloweeny.
I mean, Halloween is all about fancy dress. That's why people dress as, I don't know, robots.
Exactly.
So it's just fun. I like shout out to Entropy for your room, the scary arcade. I think there's going to be some really... And it's the same with DreamsCon. We had a lot of people who were like, oh, don't feel that you need to advertise your game or your creation. You can just advertise who you are in Dreams, or just like...
Absolutely.
People were making like snack stalls and stuff like that. So,
oh, goodness, yeah, it was brilliant, wasn't it? What was that one that I really liked, where you could just like drop your coat and then it's like a lounge?
Yeah, the coat hanger, the hanger room or something.
Yes. I love that one.
Oh, it's going to be great. Cool. Jump scares, okay. Yes.
Yeah,
that is Halloween.
Yeah, do it.
Jump scare's fine. If it was a really, really scary jump scare and it gave you some sort of horrific image. Then,
yes, if it became like a physical thing, like if you have to be rushed off to the hospital afterwards, then that's a bit too scary, I think.
Yeah. The Aeronaut says, if you walked into a skeleton rave and didn't know it was going to be a skeleton rave, it might be a bit scary.
Yeah, I suppose you could flout expectation.
Yeah,
that's a really good point. Well, I suppose if you didn't know you were going to skeleton rave.
Yeah.
I suppose that's a good point, because then you could sort of like half your room, and half of it would be like a warning area that's like, this is the skeleton rave lobby.
This is the skeleton rave.
Then you'd know. Then you would have an idea.
Right, Jamie Breeze. We shall wrap it up there. Community, we shall wrap it up there. So the deadline is going to be the 27th of September. The page that you need to bookmark to submit is indreams.me/challenges. We'll do plenty of reminding on social media. We shall have details on how you will experience All Hallows Dreams in the future.
And I can't stress this enough. Sorry, when you go to that website, indreams.me/challenges, make sure you're signed in, because otherwise nothing will appear.
Do that. We had a bit of a heart attack when someone was saying the boxes had disappeared, but then we realised they just need to sign in. So that was a learning from us.
It was such a relief, wasn't it?
That was a learning from us, yes. So we'll have details on how you'll experience All Hallows Dreams soon. There will be news on the update soon. It's going to be great. Everything we've seen so far has been fantastic. You're all amazing. I can't think of any other adjectives. Brilliant. Is that an adjective? Is that what an adjective is?
Of course it is, yes.
Yeah, I'm mind blank. Right, we shall chat to you on Thursday. We'll be back Thursday. Happy birthday to Dorian again.
Happy birthday,
Celebrate
Dorian.
Well. Have a nice
good one.
Barbecue if you have a
Enjoy
barbecue.
your cider.
Yes,
I
we
saw
shall be back.
Cider.
Oh, nice. We shall be back on Thursday. Peace and love to all. Happy dreaming.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. See ya. Bye. I hear this bit where... Yeah, there we go. Stop.